Hey there, happy day. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, also known as the Pajama Grandma, but not in my pajamas today. I'm not always in my pajamas. A lot I am, because I have the freedom of working where I want, when I want, with whomever I want, wearing whatever I want. I also have a history of chronic pain and other physical challenges that make it really, really awesome that I have the freedom now to work wherever I want in my pajamas if I want, and if that works for me. Now, that's got nothing to do with what we're talking about today. Let's talk about straight from the shoulder. Of course, this is one of the many sayings and many idioms that comes from boxing, the sport of boxing. And I found it really interesting today that I've never shared any of the other idioms that come from boxing. And that's because I think boxing is a stupid sport. I don't think anything that causes you to get hit in the head repeatedly is a really good idea, right? Same with things in our business and growing our businesses. We don't want to do things that are like beating our head against a wall repeatedly, you know, thinking we're going to get a different result. We keep banging at the same thing and we're expecting a different result. That is truly the definition of insanity. You know, think of all the rat and mice testing that they've done in science that has proven this. Now, straight from the shoulder, of course, means to be honest and frank and sincere in your communication and in your interactions with other human beings. To me, that is the only way to grow and supersize and build your business. If you are not being who you really are, if you are not growing and developing as a human being and as a person to create the company that it is that you want, what are you doing it for? Why are you doing it? You got to ask yourself that. I love this because I am a very straight shooter and I speak very directly and honestly and frankly, and I say, hey, I don't know, but this is the experience I had. You might want to think about that. Doesn't mean it's going to happen for you or it's going to be that way for you, but this is the experience that I have personally had with this thing that it is that you want to do or are thinking about doing. I don't know why anybody would not want to be themselves and be who they honestly are in any relationship, much less in a business relationship. Relationships with our vendors, relationships with our suppliers and the people that we supply, relationships with our customers, relationships with our employees, our coworkers, our peers, our friends, our family. Why would we ever not want to be honest and frank and upfront and sincere in our communication with them? You know, communication is at the core of all of our experiences and everything we do. So if you're not being who you are, if you're holding back and not being honest, if you're pretending and acting like you go along with things, but then inside you really don't, you're doing yourself and anybody else you're interacting with a true disservice, and you might actually undermine what it is that you're trying to do, the goal that you're trying to achieve. I've seen that happen so much in corporate America, where we would sit in we would have weekly meetings, of course. Department heads would all, and VPs and everybody, we'd always have weekly meetings. And in those weekly meetings, each department would sit there and we would talk about things. We'd agree. Everyone would agree in the meeting, only to, as soon as you left the meeting, there'd be pockets of people talking about why they didn't agree with it. So I'm like, well, why did you agree with it in the meeting if you don't agree with it now? How are you going to support the decision that we all said we were going to make together when you're undermining it the minute we walk out the room? You know, that just undermines your credibility and makes people question you in everything that you do. And bottom line, all we have is our integrity, our word, doing what we say we're going to do. And if people can't trust that and count on that and expect and know what to expect from you, you're going to have problems in growing your business, supersizing your business, or creating long-term success for yourself in any way, shape, or form. If you're not frank and honest and above board and trustworthy in your personal relationships, then people are going to question whether you are trustworthy in your business relationships. I know that people that are unfaithful in their personal relationships are going to have an easier time being unfaithful in their business relationships. So I'm not going to get involved with them as vendors or partners or anything else. It's once you show that you're inconsistent and non-trustworthy in one way, you're giving yourself permission to be untrustworthy or not trusted in other ways. It's just my opinion. Again, frankly, honestly, telling it like I see it and like I behave. Now, in the past, when I first started my corporate career, did I always talk straight from the shoulder? No, especially as a woman in a very male-dominated industry or industries. Sometimes I would sit back and watch and just listen before I said anything. But I would never undermine anyone else's decision. If I said I was going to do something, I would do it always. If I didn't agree with something, even if it was hard, I would speak up and say, this is why I'm feeling a little bit off on this. This is why I think that we need to keep looking for solutions. And was that hard to do? Absolutely, positively, because I wasn't always the most outspoken person when I was younger. Okay, that's not true. I was always the "are you friendly" gal. But there were situations where in corporate America I would find myself holding back from really saying what I thought and what I felt about certain things, especially when I was new to a different corporation. I wanted to find out, what's your culture? What do you believe? How does this fit with how I actually believe? And I would have to find that common ground, or I wouldn't work with that company very long, or I wouldn't work with that person very long. When I find personally that we have a values mismatch, and that comes down to honesty, communication, trust, worthiness, being who they really are, I end that relationship and say goodbye, because it's just not worth it. It's just not worth me having to be different than who I am. So, are you a straight from the shoulder shooter? Do your people, the people that you have relationships with, know what to expect from you? Are you trustworthy? You know, I'd love to have a conversation about this with different people and know what you feel, or if there's situations that you found yourself in that you're like, yeah, I would never say what I really think or feel about this, because I know that our CEO, has a different political opinion than I do, that has a different belief about human rights than I do, that has a different belief about, and it really comes down to values and belief mismatches, right? Our communication challenges. But ask yourself, is this where I really want to be? Is this the direction I want to go? And guess what? You're building your company and your organization. You surround yourself and you work with people that you can be straight with, that you can be yourself with. You get to choose and select that to grow and build your business. The other area that this reminds me of is the area of and the practice of performance reviews and giving feedback to people, number one, vendors and people that we are in relationships with and we work with, getting feedback from our customers, and then giving feedback to the people that we work with, maybe our direct reports. Most companies that have feedback at all in a formal way do it annually. Once a year, they sit you down and your boss tells you all the things you're doing wrong, right? Now, I took a different approach to that, and I'll talk about that someday, how I do performance appraisals and how I did performance appraisals. But I never got into a performance appraisal with anyone and they were ever surprised about anything we talked about, because on a continuous, ongoing basis, I'm always talking to people. I'm always communicating with them. I'm always sharing my expectations and asking them what their expectations are and letting them know how they're doing based on the expectations that we've discussed, so they always know. Everybody who works with me always knows where they stand. Everybody who works for me always knows where they stand. They know if I'm mad at them over something. They know if I think that the way they handled something sucked and they need to reevaluate and learn from that experience so that they can do a better, so they can handle a customer better in the future, or handle a peer better in the future, so that they can become a better person and a better, more valuable employee or purchase human being, right? So that they can continuously improve as well. So that is the one area that I think if you do performance reviews, fine, great, because that's usually what people's annual raises are tied to. I hate that system, right? People never earn what they're worth. They only ever earn what the job is worth. But people should always know what to expect from you. They should always know how you're going to probably react to something, whether that's good, bad, volatile, whatever. If you're a hothead, sometimes I'm a hothead, I want people to know that, and they can expect that, and that it's not personal. It's just, hey, I'm upset about this situation and the result that it got and the way we handled it. I'm not mad at you. I still love you, but we need to fix this. We need to do better next time for whatever the situation is, to treat our customers better, to give better value, to give more service, to be the company and the person and the people that we want to be. That's it. Go out and make it an awesome day. Be a straight from the shoulder shooter. Be yourself, and I guarantee your business will grow faster than you would ever imagine possible, because you will attract the people that you are here for, that you are here to change the world with. Catch you tomorrow. Have an amazing day. Bye.